Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to our Ask a Therapist April edition. Today we're discussing older adults. I am Megan Miessler. I'm the Executive Director here at Miessler Counseling Services, and this is our fourth Ask a Therapist webinar in 2020. So we're doing these little series to just open up conversations, ask different questions, and like I said, our theme in April is older adults. So today with me, I have Kris Armstrong. She is a registered nurse who's been working part-time on our staff here at Lutheran Counseling Services for the past couple of months. Kris, can you just tell us a little bit about your work experience, what you've done in the past, what you're doing for us now?
Well, first of all, I've been a registered nurse for 42 years. I've spent most of my career, the first part of my career, in bringing babies into this world. I have been in community health as a director of nursing, always with hands-on patients. I also have spent time in critical care and general surgery, pulmonary and critical care as well. I guess in critical care. I love nursing. I love being a nurse. It's hard to retire. Toward the end of my career, I was working part-time in hospice. And I found hospice very rewarding. Remember, I started out birthing babies, and I got to hospice, and hospice isn't all older adults. We have children, we have people of all ages, but what it is end of life, which can come at any time. So I think I've run the gamut there, and hopefully I've used my skills and education and blessings from God in the best way possible. And that's what I'm trying to continue to do. I'm just working part-time here at LCS, helping check in and check out clients, doing different things, using some of my nursing skills.
Yes, definitely.
And just also helping with processing, because I've helped run practices before, and to try to get some of our processes in place so it will help the next person.
Yes, most definitely. And it's been great to have a nurse on staff as COVID has entered our lives. So you've been able to bring your expertise in there. Very thankful for that. We get started today with our webinar, just a couple technical things. If you want to share a question or add a comment, you can use the questions section on the right-hand side of your screen. We are using our new camera that I've been dying to use, our Owl. So you will see that Kris and I are at the bottom of the screen, and at the top is a whole 360. Nobody else is in the room, but if you wanted to get a peek at our room or check out the Owl camera, it's pretty cool once you figure out how it works.
Go in a circle.
So please interact with us as you can. We're going to share this afterwards too on our social media networks, just to begin to continue this discussion about older adults and how we give care to older adults. So the word older adult, we probably should define. We have some different definitions for it here at Lutheran Counseling Services, probably just in lives in general.
That's true.
And so how would you define an older adult, Kris?
Well, today I define it a lot differently than I used to because I'm an older adult now. I'm 67. And when I was 57 or 47, I had a different perspective on this. Right. And when midlife was. I kind of feel like midlife's a little more like now. However, I think that older adulthood is somewhat of a state of mind. It's not a number. Mm-hmm. You know, it's life experiences. It's what you hope to achieve and maybe achieved or done or seen or still intend to do. I think it does surround sometimes, we mentally put it in the box of surrounding retiring.
Yes.
Yeah. If we've been full or part-time workers, and I've been pretty much a full-time worker most of my life, except when my children were younger. But I think it does become defined by retirement. And some of that may be financial too. Because you're thinking Social Security is coming in, maybe pensions, depending on what type of work you've done. But the older adult to me is a person with life experiences, stories to tell, a lot of just a wealth of information. And I think that, my grandkids gave me this cup that says, Nana's a mom with frosting on top. So yeah, they get gray hair too,
I don't think I'm being older adults to get gray hair.
But if you color it less codes around, and then you just go with it. But I think one of the older adults are important because of the life they lived. Even if you look back at the people you consider older adults, I'm 67. So what do I consider somebody older than me? Well, I've taken care of a lot of patients older than me up to 101. However, they are so interesting. Whether they're crusty, and angry at life, usually underneath there is all kinds of stories, experiences, and joys, if you can get into it. So I think that there comes knowledge, there comes joy, there does come the frailty of the body, and nobody wants that. I don't want that. I've had arthritis in my hands. I don't want that, but it is part of life.
Yes, most definitely. I would say, older adults and some of the things that we have defined here, we have some grant funds that supplement older adults.
Right.
And so we've classified that as 55 and older. And then in some of the homes or the facilities that we serve in, it's 65 and older. But when we're talking about older adults in general, I completely agree with this vast life history, vast storytelling that shapes who they are, that shapes, the definition of what life looks like now. And a lot of times on my caseload, it's understanding their value and worth not being in what they do as much anymore, as in who they are, like not being in the job or the career that they held, or a stay-at-home parent or something, and they've always so much shaped their life around those pieces of who they are, and having to redefine yourself in older adulthood seems to be a trend that I see in client load.
I think it definitely is, and I think that it is something that evolves as we get older and we get out of the workforce, even if we're in it part-time. I come here on Monday and Wednesday, and sometimes take the phone calls on another day, but I'm not working 60-hour weeks like I used to. Yes, and I'm very thankful for that. I feel like my time, I put out closets, I make gardens, I play with my grandkids. And I'm glad to have that time, but at first it's confusing. It really is. When you first retire, even, it doesn't matter what you've done. If you've been a housewife your whole life, it still changes. The house still has to be taken care of, but it still changes in your mindset. Mm-hmm. And I think you're exactly right. An older adult is somebody with a history to tell, to share, to learn from.
And it's so important, me being not an older adult, right, that we listen and that we value older adults in our lives, because they have history and stories and life lessons to share. And I think sometimes the disconnect in age groups, the value system for older adults isn't always there. In our program here at LCS, one of the things that we've been trying to focus on is aging well. How can we encourage older adults to age well? What are the things, especially Kris, from a medical perspective, do you find important for older adults in being able to age well?
Well, number one I'd say is, and I've seen this with so many patients, is maybe they've been healthy all their life. Then all of a sudden, something goes wrong. For myself, it was just high blood pressure that ended up being an inherited thing that I didn't know about. That's the first slap in the face. And maybe one before that, never the wrinkles or the gray hair.
Right. All uncontrollable.
That's right, yes. But an actual illness that you've got to treat and now have a pill box for, can feel like a slap in the face. But then you resolve, okay, better living through chemistry if I must. Mm-hmm. But being real about what your body needs and how you need to take care of yourself and being honest with yourself, whether you like the answer or not. I've always been the type to trek forward. This is what I can do. It's what I'm going to do. Doesn't mean I'm happy about it, but you adjust to it. So first of all, knowing how you feel, and if it's out of the parameters of feeling, quote, normal. If every day I am so fatigued when I get out of bed and I've slept 6 to 8 hours, by the way, when you get older, a lot of times you sleep less hours, or you have some interrupted sleep. However, it's time to talk with your doctor, just to see, let's make sure that nothing else is going on. It's important as you age to get a yearly checkup.
Yes.
It is very important. It really is important at every age. But as you age, more things in the body, the functioning is decreasing, all the different organs. And that is when some things rear their ugly heads and say, okay, here's something that needs to be treated. And if you ignore it, then your life will end up. And if you are proactive and take care of yourself, you're going to stay healthier and happier longer.
So really, honestly, you're saying like being honest about how you feel, even if it might be admitting that you're aging, we'll age better and age healthier if we're honest as we are experiencing now.
It's true. I mean, you can hide from it. You can pretend it doesn't happen. You can say, oh, well, I don't have this and I don't have that. Look at them. They got all those diseases. But you best not forget to look in the mirror. Okay? That's not a bad thing. It's treatable. Okay? And if you've got something that turns out to really be something more serious, like a cancer, which nobody likes to hear that word. A lot of cancer is treatable today.
As long as we get on top of it, I think is what you're saying, right? Ahead of time.
As long as you are getting your checkups and you're being real. Okay, I have this lump in my side, and my next question is, how long have you had that? Okay, maybe 5-6 months. Okay, way too long. The woman who ignores a lump in her breast, she's older and she's probably going to get breast cancer anyway. You could live 20, 30 more years. Do not ignore symptoms. That's really, really important.
And as family members then too, I would think that it would be important when an older adult admits an ailment to you, to be aware of your reaction to them, right? What you're encouraging them to do and how you're going to walk alongside them, if you can, to hold them accountable to getting the services that they need.
I think that's very true. My own mother got ill after my dad died, and she finally went to the doctor, and she had colon cancer. And then she said, well, okay, that's it. And she was only like 72. Okay. And I said, well, let's at least go to the oncologist. She was out of state. I lived there. I said, let's go to the oncologist. I made a deal with her. Let's at least hear them out. Then you can make your choice, because ultimately it is your choice. It truly is your choice.
And I think that's an important piece too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
For older adults, is that their medical care is still their choice and in their hands. And I think one of the bigger fears that I hear in older adults is that their independence or their decision making will be taken away from them if they admit things, that they're not feeling well, or that they're not maybe thinking as clearly. And so I would think, as me not being an older adult, right, that the more that I can relieve that stereotype as I talk with older adults, or as I talk with my own family members, that I always want to instill as much independence in you as I can, knowing that that's one of their fears. Do you think that that's one of their fears?
I think that's a huge fear. I can almost see it in myself sometimes when I have, well, we've all done this. We've walked into a room like,
right? Always forget.
I think we probably do that at any age. But there's other times, and I've been a public speaker before for many years and teaching nurses, and actually, it never happened to me until I got older, and I forget my train of thought. That scares me.
Yes.
And I imagine it scares you. Because we immediately attribute that, oh my gosh, am I headed to dementia or Alzheimer's? No. Okay. It doesn't mean it ultimately isn't coming around to your life or to be in your life, but it isn't the end-all answer. It's just that the mind does not always work quite as sharply. But I will tell you something that I really encourage. If you are on a phone or a computer, or you play cards, or you play games, those things help to keep your mind clear. And they can be a silly trivia game. Don't play it for I gotta win. Play it for what it's doing to your mind. Play dominoes.
Right,
You
for the
know,
practice and the sharpness in
and
your
it
brain.
brings the sharpness. It really does. I mean, don't play it though to the fatigue state.
Right.
Play it for a while, then stop, or do puzzles. I've had a puzzle now for 550 pieces, and it's so complex. And I may get it together, in another month. I walk in there, put 2 or 3 pieces in, and I'm really happy. But those things help keep us sharp.
And I would also say though, be aware of what's going on around you. Stressors in your life, like right now in the middle of COVID, everybody's forgetting things. Everybody, is at their capacity upon things. And so it doesn't mean end of the world, end of the world symptoms or moments, because we all are under extreme stressors at times. So give your body, be reasonable with yourself about those things.
You need to be, and I think because so much has been directed towards the older adult, and I think it's really talking about the older adult being hit harder by COVID because they have other things going on in their body.
Okay.
It's a declining time in the body, but it may not be as far in as you think it is. It's just that you may not have the resources to fight it as easy as when you were younger. And there are still things to do there. That doesn't mean you don't go get care. That doesn't mean you sequester your home, pretend it isn't that way, because it's a bad disease. I mean, we've got to be smart. It is hard to be sequestered in your home at any age. And with the older adult, I think it really actually makes them much more separate from the rest of society.
Yeah, we were talking before we got on, just ways that we can continue to stay connected with older adults or older adults connected with other people, especially during this COVID. But, in general, we need to be connected to people, COVID or no COVID. And so being able to create connections in your community, but you and I were talking how important it is to maybe prioritize having a phone and having internet at this time so that you can connect to people in your life, but also we can connect with the doctors that way now too if we're worried about a symptom or pieces like that. So being able to stay connected is good for your physical health too.
It is so important. And honestly, there are doctors doing telehealth now. We're doing telehealth here, but there are also places with some of the general practices like internists. They're having people wait in their car and they call them on the phone in their car and tell them when to come in for their visit. And they are wearing a mask, everybody's masked, trying to do the best that they can to not spread this disease. And then they've got all the resources for cleansing hands. And if you have any questions, and this just hit a thought with me about, how long do I need to wash my hands? What do I need to wash my hands with? What kind of masks do I need to have? Go to the CDC website, okay? You
Well,
can even,
information.
yes. And let's say you only have a phone, and if you don't have internet, you can call your public library, and you can get connected. You can also call Orlando Health, probably Advent Health too, I just don't know their connection, and get this information. You don't necessarily have to have it. It's better if you do. It keeps you more widespread and more able to collect more information and to help yourself and answer some questions. But as simple as the mask and hand washing can protect you, and the public distancing, which unfortunately, as you get older, sometimes you feel a little shoved out anyway.
And now you feel more
put away on the shelf,
Mhm.
and now you can feel more isolated. Megan and I were talking just a little earlier about, hand writing cards, writing letters to
Notes.
people.
Mhm.
Yes, notes. We tend to do it more on Facebook or Instagram or instant message or texting nowadays or emailing, but in some ways it almost seems like a lost art.
Yes.
But it's something you can easily do. You can buy stamps and get them mailed
Mailed
right
to you.
Right.
Mailed right to you.
And so, don't discount the mail. They're still going. And though we may be getting a lot of stuff from Amazon and everything,
We definitely need the mail.
it's still nice. Have you gotten a letter from somebody? It's fun, even if it's a typed letter, because maybe you don't write something anymore, or you don't like your handwriting, or you've got too much arthritis in your hands.
And it's hard to at times. I would say too, what we're saying to everybody, and this is usually a question we ask in interviews, what do you think older adults experience mental health wise as compared to other populations? And it's the same thing. There's no difference, right? We're all human beings. And so what we've been telling everybody too is as we're isolating, as we're social distancing, it could be easy to stay in your pajamas all day long. It could be easy to sit in the same chair all day long. And we know that people are healthier when they're connecting with other people, but we also know that they're healthier when they have routines.
And when you're moving, because if you sit in that chair all day long, then when you get up, your back's gonna hurt, your hips are gonna hurt. And you're gonna say, oh, I'm having a lousy day. There are a lot of things out there, and we have resources on our website that you can look at. And there's many more, but there's a lot of senior services out there that are for 55 and above. And there is exercising, chair exercising, simple meditation, movements of arms, legs, core of your body. You don't have to get out there and do aerobics, and maybe you used to do them, but there is a point where you probably shouldn't do them anymore.
Right.
Just for
But
rest.
stretching we were talking about, there's those chair exercises that people are doing. So the importance of movement in your day for anybody, but especially for older adults too. It's important for your muscles
And your blood flow, yes. Yeah, because honestly, I have a friend who, ended up in a scooter, and the longer you stay on that scooter and only get off and on, and I've had some patients like this as well, then your muscles atrophy, they just shrink. And then they don't work as well. And they're very hard to get back because you have a less elasticity in your muscles as you age as well.
And we know that movement, cardiovascular activity, it releases endorphins in our bodies. That makes us happier, right? To make us happier, to fight moments of stress and depression. So physical movement, physical exercise, checking in with people, and then too, eating on a regular schedule
And hydrating.
Having a routine to your day is very important.
Yeah, you can't mention hydrating enough, and I'm probably the worst person to do that. But you can't drink enough water or water-based drinks, nothing made with water. I'm a Coca-holic, but.
I don't think that's made with water.
Yeah. No, it's not. It isn't, you're exactly right. But, I challenge myself to drink as much water as I do Coke, so that really knocks down the Coke intake, and that's a good thing. But it's my coffee. So,
And it's helpful to have people in your life that hold you accountable to those things.
That's
ways
true.
to connect with friends or family or spouses about those pieces. Do a little water challenge or something with people in your life. And I would encourage younger people to, when you need the accountability in that, look for older adults in your life that can help build that relationship and hold you accountable to some of those things. In those ways.
I encourage you to reach out, and if you do have social media where you can get on it, Facebook and stuff, reach out to, a lot of times in older age, you're remembering the past. And there may still be some people around you haven't talked to in a long time. You're going to feel a lot better reaching out to them. But I will tell you this, if it ends up not being a good situation, then back on. Because everything isn't fun and nice. And it just may be the wrong one, but reach out. I recently went to a funeral of a girl I knew in grade school in Germany. We're military kids, and right in Winter Park. And, I had been able to see her since we had been kids in Augsburg, Germany, but we grew up kind of parallel. And it was really nice to reconnect with her. You know, and I still talk to her husband's son and her mother's still living. But you'd be surprised what a joy that is. You don't have to live in the past, but you have some shared joys and fun. And it may be a relative. And if that doesn't turn out good, then walk away too, you know?
Give them permission to
Yes,
walk.
that's exactly right. But I will tell you the other thing, and it's my greatest joy, because I have 6 grandchildren. And there isn't anything in this world, other than my 2 beautiful daughters, that makes my heart that warm, plus my husband. You know, so make the time. They could even be little hellions. Mine aren't, of course, they're all sex precious. Take the time. It may be short stints of time, and you need to let their parents know, 2 hours is all I can take. That's okay.
Yeah.
You're just being honest. But, and that's where the parents have to have an idea too, or whomever they live with. But take that time with them. There is nothing more precious to them in their life in the long run than you making time for them. It's not the gift you give.
And I would say the opposite too, that us younger generations, making sure that we are making time for older adults and making sure that we are establishing those connections as well. The other piece, I know that in this time, it can be filled with dread and not a lot of hope. And so your faith walk in the past and the things that you can cling to in your faith at this time is going to be very, very important. So there's been a lot of things on social media and pieces. I had a client who was doing a spiritual walk at San Pedro, a virtual spiritual walk. Different things that you can do to also connect with your faith walk as an older adult or as a person in general. And it's so important in these times too to know how your faith walk has shaped you for these stressful moments.
I would agree. And know this, that, you know, well, my own personal church, but I know a lot of churches out there have done all kinds of resources for older adults as well. You know, just hop on their virtual services right now. You can't exactly walk in the door, or pick up your phone and call.
Yes.
Say, well, what are you got going for, you know, for me, I'm 70 years old. What have you got going for me? They would be glad to tell you. And there's a lot of connections from men and women's Bible studies to food banks to just all kinds of things. Maybe sewing circles, depending on what your
what your hobbies or your needs are. And we want to share with you today some resources that we have that we have on our website that I'm hoping you can see this, but so at Lutheran Counseling Services, we have a resources page. And we have some links down at the bottom of our page called Older Adult Links, resources that Kris has been able to connect us with and put us here on our page. Any of these that you really wanted to highlight, Kris?
Well, first of all, the Council for Aging is state to state. So if you were listening to us from Montana, you have it there. That is nationwide. This is particularly Florida, Orange and Seminole County, because those are the counties Orlando are in, we're calling from. But I would say under Orange County Senior Services, that Vital Living Forum shows on Orange TV, which is free to everybody, has got category after category with subcategories, from cooking to chair exercises to, riddles. There are just a wealth of things there. You know, all the senior services are good. The elder helpline is not the crisis line, but the crisis line goes through it. If you have, you know, a severe need or somebody wanted to report some type of elder problem and someone was in dire need of help. But these are underused. They truly,
yes, and we should use and highlight them more. So if you go to our resources page on lcsfl.com, you will find a list of these resources. Also, we have a COVID page. It's a page that we have put up specifically for the COVID crisis. And in the month of April, we have been releasing different videos. On Monday mornings, we do a Monday self-care video. On Wednesdays, we do a recreational video, recreational therapy video, and on Fridays, we do guided meditations. So you can find all of that on our COVID page right here or on our YouTube page as well. We have a playlist specifically resources for older adults. And then one other thing that I wanted to highlight that LCS is doing for people of all ages is that we do have a free call-in line. It takes place on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can call and speak with a therapist free of charge for up to 15 minutes. We also have an email associated with that as well, where you can email to schedule a time for a free session, a free 15-minute session with one of our therapists. So we are just trying to pour out resources there for the community in this time of crisis and chaos that is going on definitely in our community right now and around the world. So Kris, any other resources or any other things that you'd like to share with older adults at this time?
Remember, we're all children of God. We are all children. And, you know, we've been given a wonderful blessing on this earth, even no matter what your faith base is. Know that you're treasured at all ages, and you should treasure. You need to treasure others. This is how our children and our grandchildren, and beyond that, learn by modeling. Not by what you say, by what you do and how you act. So I think we need to still remember that we're setting a great example, and we need to be a good example for the future. And know that the people today care about us.
Yes.
Believe in that, and let places like LCS surround you, give you tools, and use those tools and share them. Share them with others.
Yes, you older adults are our model for physical health, for mental health, and you set the patterns in our world right now. And so it's important that we as younger adults to be able to connect with you for your stories, for your history, but also just to value who you are in our lives and who you have been. So we want to thank you guys for joining us on our Ask a Therapist webinar in April, focusing on older adults. As you have needs or want to connect with Lutheran Counseling Services, please check out our website. We're on all the social media platforms as well, but really want to be able to put resources in your hands to be able to be a safe place for you to change your story. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Be safe.